take a look at the river. There's the river. There's the campground. Just kind of walk along this road for a ways. Hello, retirement days. I'm still near the campground, but I'm going to talk more once we get further from the campground. There's the train tracks. So, because the train is really close to the campground, it kind of acts like an alarm clock. So the first train woke me up, I went back to sleep. The second train, I woke up and cooked breakfast. And then the third train, it seems like everybody's woken up now. Alright, so I'm in a place called Daigo, which is in Ibaraki. So that's the prefecture next to where I live. So Daigo is in Northern Ibaraki. So it's actually I'm about level with Nasu. Yeah, so Ibaraki's kind of shaped like, I don't know, a reverse L. So it's kind of weird. Where I live, you can go south and you go to Ibaraki. You can go east and you go to Ibaraki. There's the Kuji River. So the Kuji River is actually kind of famous for ayu fishing. Not every year, but some years. It's usually in like the top 5 rivers as far as number of ayu caught each year. So it and the Naka, which is actually not that far from here, are two really big ayu rivers for ayu fishing. So for that reason, you see lots of manufacturers of ayu fishing gear kind of do their trade shows in this area too. Actually, quite a few stores selling ayu fishing gear. This would be kind of the late season for ayu now. Nah, December would be. Here's an access spot you're allowed to fish from. Here, let's get a little closer to the river. There we go. Kuji River. Kujigawa. The Kujigawa starts in Fukushima and then runs all the way down through Ibaraki, the ocean. There's a lot of birds over there. So for a while, about 10 years ago, after the nuclear concerns of Fukushima, they actually restricted fishing in this river for quite a while. And then they allowed fishing again, which I wonder if that's part of why it became... Oh, train. Yep. That runs right by our campsite. Here's the Fuji River. Big on ayu fishing. I guess they pull some trout out of here. From my understanding, ayu and trout really won't stand each other. Ayu are very aggressive fish. They'll attack other fish and other ayu. So trout, generally, if the ayu come up to where they are, the trout go upstream away from them because the trout get attacked by the ayu. At least that's what I was explained on the Kinagawa, and I would think it would apply to every other river too. So because ayu are so aggressive about attacking other fish, one of the ways, most of the time you fish them by putting out a lure that looks like an ayu and then have them attack. Or people use live ayu, so they'll hook that live ayu to their fishing line, and then they attach hooks to that ayu that trail behind it. So when the other ayu come to attack it, it gets caught on the hook, and then you reel it in and pull in the line, and now I've got the ayu that I'm using as bait and an ayu that I caught. I've had ayu attack my lures when I was fishing before. I would have like a fish type lure. Kind of actually had an ayu like color. It was sort of greenish. And I've had ayu go after it. Wasn't even my intended target species, but okay. Alright. Let's continue down the road. Alright, back onto the road. If we find another of these access points, we'll just hop in. Get a look at the river at a different point. So it's kind of cool to see the train go by. I'm not sure how well you can see on this camera. You can see the leaves are starting to change color up on the hills. Sneezy. So, the elevation actually makes a huge difference about how far along the leaves are. So yesterday, I arrived like the second or third person to check in. Set up my tent. Grab the next train going north towards Fukushima. Don't go all the way to Fukushima. Just actually took one stop to Fukurodoha and went up to the falls there. And it was not it was an elevation gain from here. But it was enough of an elevation gain that it was significantly more red and orange leaves. So this part down here might need another week before it starts looking really brilliant. Oh, I think that's a ginkgo tree down there. That really, really yellow one. That might be a ginkgo. During the summer, I bet this place is packed with fishermen. Actually, I wonder if right now the only people still fishing for ayu are the commercial guys. Oh, looks like it's swinging back up to the road now. Only follows the river for a short ways. It's very yellow. Look at that. There's a ginkgo tree. So ginkgo trees are not native to Japan. They were actually introduced from China. I want to say northern China, if I remember correctly. So they're very beautiful, you notice. They've got these, their leaves look like fans. And in the autumn, they turn this very, very brilliant yellow. They also have these seeds. Now, the seeds kind of smell. Let's be totally honest. The outer flesh of the seeds kind of smell. So part of the process, if you want to eat them, is you got to remove that outer shell. And a lot of times that's done traditionally by putting them in a sack and burying them and basically letting them rot away. But the part you eat is actually the inside, which is this kind of tasty green. Well, depending how you cook it, it can be green. One way you do it is you literally just take that shell. So the outer flesh is around a shell. The outer flesh smells bad, tastes bad. I've ever tried to eat it. I'm just going off reports. And so you want to clean it off so you're left just with the shell, the internal shell. Oh, the road splits. I actually haven't been down this way before. When I got to the campsite, I did one where I went kind of around. Oh, no, it's private property, I think. Yep, it's closed. Don't go that way. Probably something very interesting. But I'm not going to ignore the signs when I'm not alive. Maybe if I'm not alive. Oh yeah, they're doing a crow call, so now I kind of wish... As you can see, someone was very impressed with the no hunting sign. Yeah, that should be fine. No gun hunting. There's a lot of trapping that's done here. Let me check this out. Is this the one that goes around? No forest fires. Don't start forest fires. I don't think this is the loop around one. Also, the reception just got worse. Yeah, we'll continue along the road. Maybe get up on top of that hill. So this particular area of Daigo, I don't know that well because first off, this is my first trip to Daigo. I like it. First trip though. Second off, I kind of set up camp at the campground and then spent most of yesterday in a different part of Daigo, which is a little more touristy. This area is definitely more residential. that's the goal. We're gonna go up to the hill, try to give you a kind of view of the area from the hilltop. Here's somebody's chickens. Right there, to my right. I'm not sure what trend. Yesterday I ate at this really great restaurant. So I went out, did Fukuoka Falls. Lots of fun, very beautiful. Quite crowded. It might not be peak, but it's pretty close to peak foliage there. And I wouldn't be surprised if, the days that are absolute peak might be during this week, during the weekdays. And most people can't go, so very crowded, lots of people there, very beautiful. So I went there in the morning, get done walking back, and I'm like, oh, where am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? I end up stopping at this restaurant, really crazy restaurant, lots of taxidermy. Tons of taxidermy, like one of those restaurants that's just stuffed with knickknacks and things. There's some yokai masks on the wall. Lots of taxidermy. I get seated next to the Iori, so it's actually kind of nice and warm because there's still some hot coals in there. That's a temple, not a shrine. Up there. Behind that building, I can just see the top part of the pagoda. There's a hill. No, it's past this road. We gotta go past this road and then up, I think. That must be the main temple. So in Japan, temples are Buddhist, shrines are Shinto. That must be the main temple for this area, and a lot of times the temples are also used as graveyards where they bury people. So my daughter, the school she goes to, is a Buddhist preschool, right? So it's a temple. It has a preschool, and it also has a graveyard. It's not a very big temple, actually. Well, the physical hall itself is not that big. I think it's pretty old, though. Under the road. So that little road there, that tiny little thing, it's actually not on Google Maps, but it is from the train station. Is it this one? No. From the train station, that is the quickest way on foot to reach the campground. We want to end up on that hill there. Should study the map a little more before coming out. you can maybe see off in the distance that hill, which I guess it's a small mountain. It's got a lot more orange and yellows. It looks like some reds in there too, mostly because it's just a little bit taller. So the elevation's making a big difference about the leaves. I've seen that before. We were in Nikko National Park, and basically from the highest elevations down, the foliage slowly works its way down. There's the train station, the bridge. How do we actually get up on top of that hill? There's a lot of crows. Let's see what they're calling them. So that looks like that trail's closed. So we're gonna have to go a different way. Train coming. Yep, here we go. All right, now we're going up. It's so weird when trails are closed and you take this like weird other way. Here, let's get a look. So that way is north. So if you keep going far enough, you're gonna hit Fukushima. Still got a ways though. So that there is the train station that Can't see very well because it's actually kind of behind the building. That brown building there is the train station. Part of it's also used as like a community hall, community event space. If you keep going that way, you're going to get to Fukurodo. That's where the famous waterfall is. It's considered the third most beautiful waterfall in Japan. You can actually see a little bit of a cliff face that was formed during a collapse on the mountain down to the Kuji River. The Kuji River is kind of over there, but you can't see it. They're doing some shoring up of the bank and flood control work over there. Graveyard here. So, the area that's now Daigo, you have to remember, a lot of times the administration lines of the current cities don't really reflect much historical reality. So, this area was a lot of, I should say, kind of semi-isolated communities. So, as you can see, it's pretty steep around here. So there'd be these areas on the Kuji River that are flatter and more open like this. And so people would settle in these. And if you go upriver a little further, you're going to find another one. And then if you go upriver further, you're going to find another one. And these communities basically dotted along the river. The river offered a way to travel and trade when it was high enough. Probably also was much easier to just follow along the banks. And that's what these communities did and what these communities were about. Now, one of the things that was also going on is I think some of these were used as what we call hidden communities for tax reasons. So during the Edo period, the daimyos had to pay tax on their lands that they controlled, okay? And particularly, they were really paying tax on productiveness of the land. So wealth was measured in something called ko. Ko being supposedly the amount of rice that one person needed in 1 year to survive. I've heard someone argue that a modern person wouldn't survive on that amount of rice that we eat or are used to eating too much, and I'm not sure if that would have been true then too. But anyways, it was a unit of account, ko, the amount of rice or equivalent that you needed for one person to live for 1 year. It didn't have to be rice. It could have been other products too. But basically, they calculated and converted it to a rice, the value of rice. If you sold this and bought rice, how much rice would you get? So, what some of the daimyos, the lords, did was, because they were taxed on this, is they would have these hidden little farming communities that they didn't report and didn't talk about, so they didn't have to pay taxes on them. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some in here. Yeah, I don't know. No, these are too big. But I mean, there might be little ones, places where you could farm off of the tributaries of the Kuji that might have been small enough or remote enough they could have been these hidden villages for tax reasons. It's funny, when most people hear hidden village in Japan, they're thinking about like ninjas and stuff. But they were actually using them to avoid taxes. Some things never change, right? People don't want to pay taxes. Okay. There's a pagoda to the temple over there. I don't know, for some reason I thought this was a shrine up here. Not a temple. Let's continue up. Birds. Lots of birds. Here's the top. Oh yeah, you can see a lot more of the graveyard over there. There's that bridge we passed under. All right, everyone though. Oh, one more flight of birds. Oh, they don't like me. Hunting season has started, so they might be like, no. We're not heading towards that guy. Lone guy on a hill, nah. Yeah, look at that, they all turned. They're heading right at me and then turned. Huh. It's only been a few days of hunting season. They're already this spooky. Yeah. Guess you gotta learn fast. Yeah, look at that. They basically took a detour right around me. Actually, it's been crow call here since the start of the month. So I wonder if that's also got the native wildlife a little spooky. Thinking gun season started early. Alright, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in our next adventure.